Happy Saturday. It's Penuel the Black Pen. I haven't spoken to you guys, I think, since last week. And to be honest, man, I really do wish I could make lives twice, 3 times a week. I always have so much to share, so much to speak about. And I think the way my life is set up and the work I've been doing, it kind of keeps me from making lives. And to be honest, even yesterday I had an epiphany where I really enjoy, I guess you'd call it vlogging. I really enjoy just sharing my thoughts on things. And as much as I know the sit downs, the conversations, and the interviews and the dope conversations are great, I sometimes just miss chatting because I chat, boy. I miss chatting. So I'm going to have to maybe try and find a solution to that. And just to chat to you guys, I understand that you guys watch our channels for many reasons: entertainment, escape, education. I owe you guys so much educational content, which I know I've been sleeping on. Speaking about the two-pot system for pension funds and retirement. There are a lot of videos on YouTube at least, so it's not like because I haven't made a video, people can't catch up on what's going on. Speaking about our political climate, what's happening with this so-called government of national unity. Speaking about social issues, I've been burning to make a video about Lebo Keswa and Latoya Makene. I think she said Makene. Hey, I'm not sure how to pronounce. Latoya Makene and Lebo Keswa, and they're what's looking like a horrible split, because I'm not sure if they've even started getting divorced. And the videos that they did. I want to send a shout out to my boy Lungelo Kumalo, Lungelo KM, Engineer Your Life. Had a brilliant sit down with Lebo Keswa. When I saw the clips on TikTok, Twitter, elsewhere, I was cringe. I was like, but Lungelo doesn't make this type of content, man. This doesn't make sense. I went and I watched the sit down, like over 800,000 views that it's got. And I realized that Lungelo was staying true to himself. He gave Ulebo a platform to vent, to speak, to share his story. He was gentle at the beginning. He asked the right questions. And even at the end, he literally wished them healing. And he was hoping they'd be okay. And that's the Lungelo that I know. If ever he changes, of course, that's his prerogative. It's not for us to dictate how a person should make content. But I'm really glad that that was his whole point. To be like, I'm going to give you a platform. I guess someone's going to have to give Latoya a right to respond. By the way, Latoya and Ulebo had sat on the Sunday World podcast. I'm not sure who the host is. I apologize for not knowing that lady's name. But Latoya is going to have to be given a chance to give her side of the story. The sad thing is there's allegations of cheating, drugs, alcohol, domestic violence. And then obviously it includes children and money. And I can only imagine that no one is going to confess, maybe they would, on using drugs, because it's not a good idea. But if we can use podcast platforms for people to speak and learn and engage and maybe have epiphanies. While you're speaking, you might be like, I watched this thing back. My friends hollered at me, my family hollered at me, and I realized that I need rehab. I realized that I need therapy. I realized that, I actually really love this person, and maybe some of the issues we had were isolated. So there's so much to learn. During the past week, I also watched the channel of, she calls herself Mrs. Mom, Umpumile Dwaba. I was honored to meet her last year when I went to Mediate. Was it Mediate? Host? Co-MC. Not sure what it's called, but I was in charge of like a panel discussion with the audience, or a mediation discussion with the audience, where Uvusi Tembewai was headlining the event, the Millionaires Masterclass. And I got to meet Umpumile Dwaba. She's got a brilliant brand on YouTube. Her and her husband, Brendan, are doing amazing work. And what's appreciated even by myself is how they are living their truth. They are loving their religion, their Christianity. And it's inspiring for so many young, good Christian people, and Christian people who are just trying to be better people in general. I watched the episode where they spoke about how they both had sex before marriage and how that affected them and how they had to find ways to work around that as a Christian married couple. And then I watched the video where Umpumile Dwaba was speaking about how she was sexually violated when she was 14 by her then boyfriend, who was 17 years old. I had a few question marks and some concerns around that video, but maybe that's for another day. As I move in my YouTube journey, I am learning a lot about myself. I'm learning a lot about the audience, you guys. I'm learning a lot about other creators. I'm meeting a lot of really cool, interesting people. I am trying where I can to link different people for business deals. We are winning in certain ways. So there are certain guests that I've had that I've connected with to other guests, and they've managed to do work together, to invest in each other, to share money, to hire each other for certain work. So that's made me very, very happy. In the work that we're doing, also the realization that there isn't much money in these platforms. We appreciate the revenue share, of course, by YouTube AdSense, but we constantly need to look for alternative ways to make money. One of them is super thanks. So when you guys donate money in the comments, that goes a long way. And I guess I want to take this moment to say thank you. There's a gentleman recently, and I apologize for not calling everyone out. I'm going to try and make a note of this moving forward. But Utabo Hlalele, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Utabo Hlalele has been donating quite a bit, especially for Dope Conversations, saying that, I must buy the ladies coffee. He donated with the sit down I had with Nota, which dropped yesterday. We were speaking about the music industry in South Africa, and he was like, well, look, Nota doesn't drink, but you can get him like a beverage. Those things go a long way to be like, thank you so much for seeing the work I do. Thank you for acknowledging the work I do. And thank you for contributing something so that we can pay. Because you may not know, but we pay editors, the people that edit the videos. At times we have to pay the people that are filming the content. At times we have to pay for venues. If I'm blessed and I'm lucky and I film at Amped Studios in Newtown in Johannesburg, I don't have to pay for anything except for the editing. Filming with Justice of Justify, the Nota sit down, I pay for that venue, space, editing. When I film with Tribal Media House for the Penuel show, which is going to be rebranded as the Konvo show, it's a conversation that I'm going to raise with you guys. There's costs in running that. As much as I've partnered with Tibugo Kibine, there are costs in running that operation. So these things cost money, and unfortunately, we don't make that much. For a normal YouTube video, here in South Africa, you're looking at 4.5 cents per view. So if you're doing 10,000 views, 10,000, which is a lot, you're looking at 450 Rand. That is, you cannot film content on 450 Rand. If you get super thanks, it helps, of course. If you can get sponsors, that is obviously ideal. If you're doing a live, like the one I'm doing now, it goes down to 2 cents, 2.5 cents. So for 10,000 views, which is a lot, you're looking at 250, 270 Rand. It's not a lot of money. And this is not me sharing with you guys that, please send us money, we don't have money. It's me trying to explain that we're creating content to try and educate, entertain, inspire in various ways. And we're not making, you could see my videos doing 20,000, 30,000 views, but we're not making the money that people think. So for many of us, we need to monetize in various ways. People have jobs, full-time jobs. Other people like Justice, for example, doesn't only have his own Justify podcast. He makes his money through his company, Tino Media, which films podcasts and edit podcasts on behalf of other people. He films and edits for Lungelo KM, Engineer Your Life. I think he still films and edits for Promise M. He films for Lelo N. You've seen Lelo on Dope Conversations and on the Penuel show. He films for Kokos Koteni and the Venting podcast. So he has to monetize in different ways. Kokos Koteni is a DJ now. And maybe I can take this moment also, I know it was a week or two ago, to just send my sympathies and condolences again to the loved ones, to close friends, to the supporters, the fans of Kokos Koteni and her partner. I don't know if they're still together, Umonde Shani. They lost Umonde Jr., their son. I know at the time his story was very inspiring because he didn't have an esophagus. He couldn't swallow. And to lose a baby 3 years old is one of the most painful things I can ever imagine a human being can go through. So my sympathies and condolences to them. I spoke to them personally. I've sent my sympathies and condolences. But it's not just about them because they live in the public. They have fans, they have supporters. The children themselves had Instagram pages and people are fans of the children. So to you guys that were hurt by that story, I just want to send my sympathies and condolences. So Gogo's Koteni DJs, as an example, she consult as a sangoma. I'm not sure if she still is, because I remember on Podcast and Chill, Eti, she's moving back towards Christianity and God. I don't know. Other people have full-time jobs. Other people have businesses on the side. DJ Smooth's got more fire. He's working at Radio 2000, etc., etc. I've been fighting for the longest time to not have advertising on my platforms. I love Joe Rogan, and for the longest time, I was like, Joe Rogan doesn't have advertisers. But it was partly because Joe Rogan had his commentary work at the UFC, cage fighting, and he's a stand-up comedian. He's got specials on Netflix. So it's like, well, he doesn't need to monetize YouTube. Later on, he'd get a deal with Spotify of initially $100 million, then $200 million. I think they've just renewed it. So he was lucky. He's a unicorn. It's like when you create a tech startup and Peter Thiel or someone comes and says, we're going to give you 100 million rand, do your thing. That's when you've like hit the lottery. So he was very lucky with his podcast. Many others, unfortunately, need to sell advertising space because, as I explained, we don't make that much money. The guys in America make much more because of the power of the dollar, because of their audience. The guys in the United Kingdom, same. In South Africa, unfortunately, the rand is not that strong. The audience is not that rich, so we can't make that much money. But even there, Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO, is making money through advertising and other ways. Chris Williamson in the UK, advertising and other ways, who's popular in America. Lex Friedman has got advertisers. Normally when he starts off an episode, he'll be like, we want to thank our sponsors. You can see them in the description below, and other such creators as well. So if I'm going to be doing this podcasting thing on a more full-time basis, I had to realize I'm going to be honest about advertising, but I didn't want it to be whack. I didn't want, while we're filming, you cut. I may end up doing that, sadly, but you're having like a great conversation, then you're like, sorry to disturb your viewing. I just want to say, this tea tastes so great. Please buy this drink. Please subscribe to no. And I sell you stuff. But I'm sharing this because I'm hoping the audience will understand. We're not trying to sell you guys things. We're not trying to ruin your experience. We're actually just trying to fundraise so that we can sustainably create the content that we do. What's ideal for me is integrating the marketing. And in the integration of the marketing, many of the people that work for brands need to be open-minded. So maybe be comfortable with Penuel, the black pen, paying you well, the black pen, saying, I'm not going to say, I eat this fried chicken. Please buy this fried chicken. They've got a new special. What's going to happen is I'm going to have a sit-down, dope conversations, the Konvo show anyway. We're going to have this fried chicken on the table. We're going to eat it. And we're going to speak about it organically during the conversation. The same with a drink. The same with a clothing item. To be like, we were sponsored by these guys. They actually paid for this. So thank you so much, guys. We appreciate you and we hope the audience appreciates you. Their quality pretty dope. Be organic versus cutting the conversation, feeling like you're selling a hard sell, which I know a lot of the podcast audience doesn't generally like, because then we just become the same as like mainstream media. What's the difference? And if you're trying to create content for an audience, all of a sudden you start chasing money so much that you compromise on the integrity of your content. You start focusing only on making money. If I'm not getting paid for this episode, I'm not making it, etc., etc. And you lose the essence of why we started podcasting, some of us, and vlogging in the first place. So yeah, I've got a couple of sponsors, man, that have been sponsoring not this video, but my social media platforms, because one of the ways I'm monetizing is even if my YouTube is not going to get sponsored, but at least I've got people paying me to put posters on my Instagram stories or Instagram, on Facebook, my Facebook stories, on LinkedIn, where possible, sharing videos on TikTok, Twitter, of course, X as well, to be like, drop me a DM. I'll charge you per post, but at least I use that money to sustain my life. I use that money to fund my content creation on YouTube and on TikTok as well. So that helps a lot. Does a lot for us. So www.pluxnet.co.za, pluxnet.co.za, a black female-owned company that does connectivity, fiber, It's an internet service provider. I'm going to drop their link in the description. I've been posting them on my social media platforms. I want to thank them very much for sponsoring social media advertising on my platforms. My boy, as always, Chris Kapanga. I've been with him for the last couple of years. He runs We Clean It All in Randburg. Not only do they clean homes, they also clean office spaces, they clean corporate spaces, they clean cars, they clean mattresses, fully fledged cleaning company. Then they supply cleaning materials, they supply machines, they also hire out machines. And one of Chris's passions currently is to train as many young entrepreneurs as possible to start their own cleaning products. So you'll go to We Clean It All, he'll train you, and then after training you, he'll be like, I can supply you with materials. I can supply you with equipment. And furthermore than that, what Chris and them also do with their database is there is work that so they'll train you, supply those things, and then where they have certain work, they'll pass the work to you. I think that's so dope. So Chris Kapanga, We Clean It All, also sponsors me on a regular basis. I want to give a shout out to, I'm not sure what the person's name is because they didn't give me their personal name. @free__zone with 2 N's, N for Nelly. @free__zone with 2 N's on Twitter. A passionate Pan-Africanist who just decided this week to send me money. To be like, Pen, I look at the work you do. I support it. I appreciate your voice. So I just want to send money, bro, to be like, whatever you need for editing, for your guests, please just take this money. That means a lot to me. So I need to give shout outs to people like that. And in various ways, I think the challenge is also on me to be like, if I get an advertiser who's bringing in money, yes, posters are easy. Plaster that on Instagram stories, Facebook stories, you post it on Twitter. That's easy. Put a nice, catchy caption where you can. If they can make a cute little video about the work they do, even better. But for me, if I'm going to speak about them on a podcast platform, maybe it's not, it can be, of course. This episode was sponsored by blah, 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 blah. You put their logo, contact them, straightforward, you get paid, keep it moving. But what's more valuable, for me at least, is maybe sitting with the entrepreneur and having a conversation about their business, their struggles, where they're winning, what they're actually looking for. If not that, of which I do those, by the way, I do paid podcasts. If you're looking to promote your business, your nonprofit organization, if you're hosting an event and you're like, Pen, I want to come and sit with you and chat about what we're doing, I'm willing to do that. If not that, then it's, how do I take your business? Let's use DJ Smooth's More Fire. How do I take your business and in any conversation I'm having, find a way to integrate it? So I'm sitting with a young entrepreneur. We're speaking about their sneaker business. And as they're speaking about their sneaker business, I'm like, this reminds me of sitting with DJ Smooth and the story of how they took More Fire from just selling it on the streets and how they struggled with distribution, as an example. And they needed to find partners because in this country, if you don't have distribution partners for your stock, you're fucked. You can only sell in the streets so far until you need Pick and Pay, ShopRite, Woolworths, Cambridge, Boxer, Spar to stock your stuff for distribution. And in that conversation, I get to speak about More Fire. I get to speak about their brand. And anyone who's interested can then click on the link to be like, that sounds interesting. It's organic. It's real as much as it's paid for, but it's not tacky. It's not in your face. It doesn't cut the conversation. And it's relevant to the conversation. So those become some of the challenges that I have to think about and deal with. Yeah. We're going to rebranding the Penuel show. Many people are not happy with it. Many people understand. It's going to be called the Konvo show. I'm not sure when the production team is going to be switching that up in the next week or the next coming weeks. I wanted to take my name back. And I wanted to create a platform that is bigger than me, which means if at some point someone else is hosting the show, could be Utebza, could be Usizwe, could be Penson, could be Mandisa Mashego, could be Ursula Marianne, could be anyone. It's like, you are hosting, but it's called the Penuel show. That doesn't make sense. So in the spirit of sustainability, opening it up, looking at what we want the platform to become, we sat and we spoke, and I was like, I want my name back. I want the Penuel show to be me. So for example, while I'm vlogging, I could be like, what's up? It's Penuel the Black Pen. Welcome to the Penuel show. Because it's about me. And I can speak about my life. I can speak about my children. I can speak about my relationship struggles. I can speak about money issues. I can speak about my family. Because it is the Penuel show versus the Konvo show or the Konvo, as many people suggested on Twitter. There we're having conversations about politics, business, social life, whatever you want, but it's not about me. And the example I gave is you've got something like the Trevor Noah show or the Daily Show with Trevor Noah. So you could have the Konvo show with Penuel the Black Pen or the Konvo show. And that was a decision we made. I thought it was great. And also in the background, maybe this is something I'll share in time, not yet. In the background, myself and Utibuho are reworking some of the mechanics of our partnership in the spirit of trying to build a platform to become the best that it can be. And if when we get those things right, maybe we'll share with you guys. If we feel it's necessary for the audience, if it's not, then it doesn't matter. What I mean by that is if the Penuel show changes like a camera, we don't really need to tell you guys that. If the Penuel show's got a different editor coming in, we don't necessarily have to tell you guys that stuff. But if it's something like maybe we're changing our set, maybe we're going with a different production company, maybe someone else will be hosting, something that actually impacts you guys, then we can have that conversation. Or I'll have that conversation with you. So yeah, shout out to Podcast and Chill. I've been chatting to some of the guys that are involved with the network itself. Shout out to the guys that came up with, I think it's called the Barber's Chair, hosted by Slicker. I saw the first episode at DJ Sbu, Tiko Modise, Zwaibala. Dope concept. I know they copied it. Fucking copy and paste. They copied it from LeBron's The Shop. But if they can pull it off, dope. And other people are creating content, man. I see you. I'm trying to study this game and figure out, number one, how to do things better myself. Figure out where the industry itself is doing things wrong, so that when I meet some of these podcasters, I can give them advice. And then what's most important for me is introspecting. Because it's one thing to study Mr. Beast or Ryan Tran. It's another thing to be like, now that I've studied Mr. Beast, Ryan Tran, Paul Logan, I'm not them. You get what I'm saying? I've studied the game. This is interesting. This works. But the one takeaway is this is not me. And you're like, that's dope. You look at two different types of hosts, myself, Justice Shabalala. I love conversation. I interrupt guests. I share my own stories. I engage. It annoys the audience, but some people understand. Justice is an interviewer. He asks a question. He allows you to fully flesh out your story. He's not me. He's not there for conversation and telling his story. He's interviewing. And he gets amazing guests with amazing stories. And one of the conversations I had with him these past 2 weeks is he's like, he wants to find ordinary people with just interesting stories. And I'm like, that is gold. Versus celebrities. Someone else wants to do celebrities. Oh, this celebrity did this celebrity. It's okay. David Mashabela, King David Studios. David Mashabela is like, I want to document our legends, our icons. That's his USP, unique selling proposition. So you need to find out, or from studying these guys, what is it I'm trying to achieve? And I know one of the things Mr. Beast has complained about is he gives out all this free game on how he's built his YouTube empire. And he's like, one of the things that has saddened him is he wasn't trying to have replicas of Mr. Beast. He wasn't saying, let me tell you how I did it so you can copy me. He was saying, let me tell you how I did it so you can take some of the lessons and then create something completely new. South Africa, as an example, is burning and has a huge opportunity in isiZulu podcasts, in isiXhosa podcasts, in Sisuthu podcasts, in Chivenda podcasts that are tailored to a certain audience. YouTube is about an audience. You know, we speak about the algorithm, something Mr. B speaks about. Don't think of it as the algorithm, think of it as your audience. So it's not what does the algorithm want, it's what does my audience want. And once you've figured out who you want your audience to be, don't wait for YouTube to define your audience. Once you've figured out, I want to make content for single mothers that are struggling, that are holding it down, that are confused, that need support. That is my audience. Forget the algorithm. Your algorithm is your audience. And when you market your podcast, when you give it a name, when you speak about it, you're focused on saying, this is for single mothers. The fact that there are men watching it, the fact that there are people in America watching it, the fact that is great. And once you've got your audience set, you listen to your audience and you engage on their behalf. If your audience changes, then by all means you can decide, I initially started this podcast trying to speak to young men and young boys, but what I realized is I ended up attracting a lot of mothers. And it was the mothers that were watching because they were like, I watch your podcast because you're speaking to little boys and young men. And because I'm a single mother, I don't know how to raise my son. So I watch you to know how to parent my boys. And you're like, I would have never guessed that women are watching. So then all of a sudden you find my podcast is advertising a day spa. My podcast is advertising a nail technician. My podcast is advertising a special at a women's clothing store. And you're like, Fitz, I don't understand. This podcast is for like young boys, but you're advertising women products. I'm like, I know. But what's crazy is my major audience are actually mothers. It's wild. So the sponsors list, or at least from a sponsorship perspective, you want to then engage your audience. And that's what I think even with this vlog, I try to do, to be like, this is me just updating you guys. I know you see like the finished product of the Penuel show / the Konvo show, the finished product of Dope Conversations. But you guys are like people on the other side here. You're not like a machine. You're not an algorithm. You're a human being. And I've met a bunch of you, which is so dope. And it's like, I have to consider you. I won't do what you want me to do because I don't live for you. But when I create content, I must be cognizant of the fact that I have an audience. And if I'm attracting the type of audience I don't like, I need to go back and be like, now I'm attracting radicals, extremists, racists. And that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find progressive people who are non-racialist, who are understanding, to engage, to create a better world. So maybe there's something I'm doing wrong. If there's a radical extremist here and there, a racist, it's okay. I really don't mind. And we can engage them. But I'll know immediately in the comments that this woman bashing me, fuck you, Penuel, we don't need men like you. You're busy making babies all over the world. I'm like, she's not even my audience, to be honest. If anything, I'm listening to her and I'm like, Siswami, I wish you healing. You sound angry. Maybe you've got a child with a deadbeat and you're projecting on me. Maybe your father was absent. If that's the issue, we can talk about it and find solutions because I care about solutions. But I'm not going to not speak about my life because it pisses you off. You are not my audience. My audience knows my life. They know my truth. They know my heart. And that's what matters to me. So, yeah, I think I'll stop there for now. I'm going to try and make these things shorter, these vlogs shorter. I think like 30 minutes is like the sweet spot. I'm going to ask of you guys, I'm going to beg of you guys, if you posted a comment here on the live, please go and repost it on the main comments, which is where I'll comment. I don't want to read comments here on the lives anymore. And I know I haven't done this. Let me do it quickly. Let me see. Okay, there's a chat filter. What else? No, I don't want any of that. Look it up on Google afterwards. I want to see if it's possible to switch off comments when I go live. I know it's dope to comment while I'm like chatting. And I know it's dope to also for me to engage comments while I'm here. I think what I can try and commit once a week is where I go live just to read your comments and to respond. But when I come on a live like this, I normally have an intention and I don't want to be distracted. And I don't want to waste too much time at the end of it going through comments. So if you have a comment, please put it on the main comment section after this video uploads, and then I will engage and respond to you there. And then once a week, I hope I will make lives where I'm just engaging you guys, where I'm literally, I'll have my other phone while I'm making a live here. I'll be reading your comments and then I'll be like, oh, Rude Boy just said this. Rude Boy, this is my thoughts, this is what I'm thinking. Tabo just said this. Tabo, I just want to say thank you. And Tabi saying, is criticizing me, okay, and I'll be saying thank you. And then I do that just for you guys, just to engage with you guys and take it from there. But from the bottom of my heart, constantly, I appreciate your support on Dope Conversations, on the Penuel Show, which will become the Konvo Show. I support your vlogs, the support you give me, my vlogs, all the people that sent donations where you can. I don't expect you guys to have money. The super thanks. Thank you so much. For those of you who have businesses, please hit me up on my DMs. If you don't have much money, we can chat. I'm human. You know, we're not run by artificial intelligence yet. I'm human. We can chat. Pen, I want to promote my book. Pen, I want to promote garments, for example, sell school shoes and t-shirts in bulk. I want to promote this event. We're hosting this event. I want to promote this thing. You know, it's a gathering. My church is hosting this thing. We don't have much money, but I'll just say thank you. Just to post it up there. And I'm like, we can do that. And we engage as human beings and we grow together. Stay warm, stay safe. I know it's snowing in KZN. Some people are stuck on the roads. I hope our government and the Department of Transport and Social Development are going to get involved and help people where they may be. Stay safe, stay warm. What else, man? Yeah, take care. Take care. Till I chat to you guys again soon. Penuel the black pen. Penuel the swart pen. Love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Cheers.